Hi,
Hello,
I'm Julian.
and I am Tom.
We are Team Bench, and we are here to talk about Silo Season 3, Episode 5. This one was called Memory. And Tom, this episode was a memory. I literally just watched it, and I can remember all of it. And, for a show that likes to kind of roll it out slowly with the red carpet, I feel like this episode rolled that carpet out much faster, and we got the whole crowd together. We finally got a Juliet that remembers things, and I like how they've done this. They've wrapped a bunch of stuff up together as to what Sims has been doing in the background,
Right.
and all the other inner workings that we should be worried about. Added a new element to how things suck in the silo and what we're running out of. But I enjoyed this episode. I thought they pulled it together quite nicely.
Yeah, I had a really good time with this episode too. Like, it was very dense. Like, we got a lot. I like getting the flashback of seeing kind of what happened in those 3 months while Juliet was kind of incapacitated or essentially being put into this mayor position. And like we kind of theorized a little bit last week, like seeing Sims essentially betraying Camille and kind of doing his own thing is very, very interesting. And I mean, I don't know if the show benefited, but like, I think it maybe did, of not jumping back and forth between the before times and what's going on in the silo, because this was, I mean, almost entirely focused on the silo. And I think it was better suited for it.
No, I agree. And we're on record. We love spousal betrayal. We always have and always will. So it was interesting. And you were very kind there, Tom, where you said we were both like on the, hey, did Sims turn good? But it was really you. I don't know that I've ever thought that Sims was a good guy in this show, but you definitely spotted some things that he was doing, and they did explain it in this one. So, Tom,
It's a team effort.
A team binge effort, you're right. Mainly the team Tom binge effort. But let me ask you this, Tom, and this is a very important question to this episode, which is called Memory. Is there a childhood toy, or are there like childhood items that if you had lost your memory and you were like, Julian, put something in my hands that would cause me to remember my youth, are there some things that come to mind that you would want me to put into your hands? And keep in mind, Tom, these are like toys and items that you would be looking for.
I mean, we do find out later that the toys, I guess, aren't as beneficial. Are you drinking? It's the afternoon.
Yeah. No, that was definitely... just ignore that noise. Keep going.
But like, I guess the childhood memories don't do as much for Jules as we find out later. But like, me personally, I felt like I played a lot of sports as a kid, so like maybe like some old like cleats or something like that could ring a bell or two. I felt like I had like an old school like wooden duck toy. I guess it's staying in the duck realm, that you can like has a string on it and you roll it, and then like a little like egg rolls on its back as you roll across the ground. One of my favorite childhood toys, hours on end.
I'm sorry, Tom, were you born in the 1800s? A wooden duck on a string was your
Exactly
choice?
what I had.
And then the other was shoes? You would like shoes? I would like to send a kind email to your parents about what type of austere environment you grew up in. This is insane. I forgot you were like a Depression era baby. No, those are all bad answers. Bad. It's like...
What's yours?
Oh, those G.I. Joes that were about 3 inches tall, that the rubber band in their midsection would snap when they got too old, and then they would just be the body parts that other G.I. Joes had to come home from war and talk about. My G.I. Joe playing was very clinical. It was a lot of like, go shoot things and then come home and talk about them, but only to the therapist, not on, say, like a podcast. But, G.I. Joes... Hungry Hippos, which I got very late in life, and then the other one would be just like the video or the BB gun that I butt stroked the target with, and the back end broke off, so it became a sawed off or a shortened illegal BB gun. We'll just say. So those would be the stuff that my hands would remember and would bring me right back to my childhood. But
listen, I do like that though, because I can't say from a G.I. Joe kind of standpoint, like going over to my parents' house and watching my son play with my old toys, like my old like Ninja Turtles or He-Man toys, it is kind of fun to go back and see that.
I would love to watch your boy roll a wooden duck around and just be like, Dad, how long do I have to do this for? This might be the worst toy I've ever seen or used. That's, I mean, I just
have a sense memory. I have a sense memory of playing with that as a child. Don't shoot me down, bro.
Sure. All right, let's. For those of you that are listening, reach us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. I'd like to know what your unique child toy, and hopefully it's something a little bit more fun than a wooden duck on wheels. If you're 90 years old, I guess you would be like, hey, I also had the toy that Tom had. My Dutch great-grandfather made it for me. All right, sorry. Okay. So I just want to hit like from the recap, the things that I felt were important going into this episode is the last reveal was that Bernard is alive, and that obviously comes into play. And I like what they did here with his character in terms of a lot of reformation going on with our big bads from season 1 and 2, right?
Yes.
And then we've got Billings working on the Orla McLean murder, which brings back, I believe, Carla McLean, who, I got to be honest, takes this murder pretty easily, but we'll get to it when we get to it. And
you said Orla McLean, like it's not her daughter or anything, right? You're just saying that Orla and Carla
I
are
thought
back in the
Orla
mix.
McLean and Carla McLean were related. Am I wrong? Are they not both McLeans?
Oh, goodness. I feel like I should know that. I don't think so.
All right, you look it up while I talk through the next one. And then the next bit is, and to your point, we stay in the silo for most of this episode, but we left the last episode with Helen and Daniel going on a van trip, which we only get a brief Honda or Toyota commercial at the end of the episode. I'm going to say it's a Honda Odyssey. That's what I'm going to guess this car was.
I'm pretty sure it's a Waymo based off of how it acts.
Sure, that's fair.
But it's Orla Kent and Carla McLean. So, yes, they are not related.
Okay, not related. Well, that changes everything for me. Okay. So no wonder she didn't care she was murdered. They weren't related. She didn't care. All right, makes more sense. All right, we start with this opening, and I feel like they did this a couple of times. They like turned to kind of a black and white. Not that the show is not already pretty dark in terms of how it's shot, but they go to this like real gray shooting style, and we get the slow motion flashback of when Juliet comes through the fire room and Shirley and Knox trying to save her, and just like how that all happens. And then we also get this with some of Sim's memories, which I did appreciate. So
I thought it was super cool. Like, I was kind of confused too why they didn't stick with that black and white, but like the more I think about it, I feel like they used that for Sims, and then for this Knox Shirley trying to save Juliet scenes as like, this is essentially the direct aftermath of everything kind of happening.
Right.
Because I thought it would have been cool if they kind of kept that, because it was a very kind of jarring cinematography choice, which I loved.
But it was effective, and I liked the, Tom, here we go, juxtaposition of Juliet trying to remember, and then us getting everyone else's memories from these moments in terms of like Shirley and Knox as well as Sims. They let her out of the fire room, and this is against protocol, right?
Yeah, Billings, well, it's, again, essentially you see Billings here because he's still very much like to the pact. He's like, hey, this door has to stay closed for 48 hours after somebody cleans for the sake of the poison or whatever's out there.
Right, because they all believe the more the door is open, the poison will get inside. We have some cool, and I thought this was shot really well. Like, they bring a door as a stretcher. They've got to use the cranes. They do that overhead shot of all the people and then the two cranes going up. It's like a fun... Tom, did you ever go to like sleepaway camp where you threw someone on a stretcher and you had to raise them through a building, and it was a team thing, like who could, and a lot of times the body would just like fall off the stretcher. Did you ever play that game?
No, your trust falls were different than my trust falls back in camp.
Yes, my trust falls, we just call them falls. Like, put the lightest kid that you didn't like on the stretcher and see what happens is what we call it.
I do want to say that the pulley system that they put together was done incredibly quickly. I don't know if that was already part of like the rebellion, but that was very well done. I do like the people like singing and watching. I don't know what they were singing or if we were supposed to like clock that from an earlier episode, but I thought it was cool and poetic. And I think it is important to call out that when Hank had his like mask on and his cool long hair, he definitely looked like the Winter Soldier.
Sure.
Credit to a good friend of the pod, Andy, for calling that out, because I could definitely see it.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that reference of a Winter Soldier. That's something that we all collectively understand, and I thought the same thing. He definitely didn't look
Marvel.
like the Summer Soldier. You know, I was like, oh, this guy. Definitely not him. He looks like the Winter Soldier.
It's Bucky Barnes, bro. Famous Captain America character.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me. I told you. I knew what it was. I don't. Why do you keep bringing up Buckster Barnes? Like, I know who he is. I just thought all of this like showed the direct competence of mechanical. Like in an emergency, these guys know how to do it. I also think it showed the people, and maybe we don't do this enough as a society, when an emergency's happening and like people's lives are on the line. Yes, we need to gather around and start singing nonsense. I'm just going to start doing that next time I'm watching something happen. I don't know what song I'm going to sing. I also don't think collectively as Americans, there's like maybe one song we all know, kind of. Two, Happy Birthday and the National Anthem, and really only parts of the National Anthem. But
correct,
anyways, let's end like a Sabrina Carpenter song. I think that's about coffee, I think is the one we all know.
Espresso?
Yeah, sure. That's the one. All right, let's move on. So, a cool opening shot. I enjoyed watching all of this. And we are getting this through like a retelling of Juliet and Bernard, who are now having this conversation in the Down, Down, Deep. And then we find out that, because like Sims is like, there's a couple of times in this episode where Sims just like bursts into a conversation or you just hear Common's voice. And I know that Common's getting flack for this show. I think he does a really good job with this character. And I think this episode, he was particularly, you know, I don't know, well acted. I don't know. I like Common in this, and I think he's doing a good job as Sims. I just want to be on record.
I'm with you. I do like Common as well. I just feel like he's kind of like relatively monotone. Like his levels either just screaming or he just kind of has that like flat face. But I think it works well for this character, and I definitely enjoy him. But the first thing me and my wife both thought when Sims like kind of sidles behind Juliet, I thought Juliet was going to run again.
Yeah, right. She's talking, and she's like, Bernard, how'd you get down here? And Sims is like, it's me, Robert Sims. I get people down here.
Runs off the ledge, dives in the water.
Right. So... And then we get a little bit of Sim's story where the algorithm is choosing Camille, and so Sims has to like take the sun down, and then when Camille shows back up, we get a little bit of marital strife where we're not sharing our vault secrets with each other, and you can see, and I don't know if it's like the best way of doing it, but I feel like it is an effective way of Sims being the big bad in 2 seasons, him coming around to, and he even mentions it later in the episode, like something was awoken in him that he cares so much for his son, and he's kind of over all of this, like, hey, we got to do things for the silo, and he's more interested in taking care of his boy. And you see the division here where Camille is now the one that has to listen to the algorithm and make those difficult choices. But I do understand like the complicated feelings, and we get it from Bernard later. But ultimately, the discussion between Camille and Sims is, hey, there are now 3 threats to the silo: Bernard, Lucas, and Juliet. Whoever talks first is priority. And by the way, Lucas, not a big deal. We'll figure him out later. But he is essentially like, hey, I need clarification. You now, as the head of IT, are you asking me to start killing people? Because I'll do it, but I won't be happy about it. And
it was great. Like, it was just all cold and calculated, like from Camille's standpoint. And like, I mean, they mentioned like grabbing bags. Sims is asking very specifically about priority. Like, you can kind of see Sims is still there for his wife and still on board, but like, I think slowly the cracks are kind of forming here.
Right, and I think he is also formulating, like, hey, how, you know, I don't want to go back to this part of my job, so how do I get around this? But I do appreciate, she's, like, trying to nicely be, like, how, like, quietly murder, like, so that no one... And he's
them.
like, yeah, and he's like, no, the terminology is grab and bag. Like, we use specific terminology. But yeah, ultimately he is unhappy that he has to get to the killing with no information, and so
understandable.
Sure. Well, I guess it's in this situation. It's understandable. Sure.
If your wife asked you to murder 3 people indiscriminately because a computer said so, would you do it?
Yeah, of course. We're married. Yeah. It's in the good book, Tom. I'm pretty sure I've got to
Till
listen
death to
it.
other people part.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's right. Yeah, it's right in like Genesis. It says it right off the top. All right. So Wall, Sims. We then get the flashback of Sims visiting Bernard, who Bernard looks to be doing pretty good, right? You know,
He's in a rough spot. I do want to say and call out that the red suits that these guys had were pretty dope. Like these quarantine suits. I figured
Yeah.
they should have worn those out.
yeah. I think they should just wear them all the time. You know, I mean, they probably come with air conditioning or a heater, depending on what the weather in the silo is at a certain amount of time. But I appreciate when he shows up, Bernard immediately being like, listen, I know that voice wants me dead, but listen, they can kill the whole silo and Juliet knows how to stop it. So maybe don't kill me right away. Let's help figure this out. And saran wrapping Bernard is a pretty effective scene. I was like, oh, this also as someone who once burned his finger on a hot toddy, I know, like, the pain that Bernard's going through as he's being wrapped up. But ultimately, he's nice enough to poke that hole in the mouth so Bernard can breathe.
What's your thought about all this? I felt like it was kind of almost cheesy-ish of like, if Sims is going to make this decision, you make this decision before you wrap the dude's head in it. Like for him to like wrap him and then cut the hole in, I feel like you would have come to that epiphany instead of just watching this guy suffer and die. But I don't know. Maybe that was it.
No, I thought it was great for a TV show. It makes no sense in real life because you're definitely like causing some pain and trauma there if you're ultimately going to save him. I think it's supposed to show just that he's conflicted, but I also agree in like a scene or two later when he puts him on the incinerator belt, he hits the button. No one's like, they've already left the room or in the process of leaving the room. You could have just waited. Instead, he hits the button and Bernard starts going towards the incinerator and then he hits the stop button. You're putting a lot of faith in that incinerator system to not just keep going through its cycle until it drops Bernard in there. But
yeah, that's fair.
Once
it's also
again,
probably really, really hot, I would imagine.
Oh, super hot. Yeah,
feet away. Yeah, you'll be burning.
I agree. And we haven't had much of them, but interspersed in this is Walker and Carla catching up.
Carla's back, so good to have her back. I love her.
Good to have both Walker and Carla back, and we have a conversation where Sims comes down and he's like, listen, you can't ask me who it is or what we need to do. We're going to go hurt some people. And Walker's like, whose car we taking? And anyways, a little reference to The Town for those of you that love that movie. But essentially, the Sims is like, hey, I need some help to get something moved. We need to make a body disappear. And I liked Carla's directness. She like, we don't like you, which maybe I would have used a little bit stronger language with all the murdering that Sims has been doing. But she's like, we're not friends with you, and you're not invited to our birthday party. And he's like, well, I need your help. So, and also this helps Juliet because Camille wants her dad.
Yes, I loved their responses immediately. Like when Sim comes in, like, why would we do anything? Like he essentially kidnapped them, right, last season, and like put them in jail. So like them both saying like, no, we hate you. It was great.
Right. And ultimately he needs to fake Bernard's death, and their like pact in order to help is that they want Juliet protected. And I don't know how I appreciated. We have Sims have this conversation with this other gentleman. He then goes up, and this rabble-rousing crowd makes Juliet mayor. Like
rabble.
So Bernard just died, and Juliet was in the same situation he did. They're like, listen, the guy that just died from being in the fire room, he's no longer mayor. Let's make the other person who was just in the fire room and is probably going to die the mayor. This didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I guess I understood what they were doing. It just seemed a little bit rabble-rabbled, I guess, would be the phrasing.
I know this is from the books, like her becoming mayor and everything, and I think it's just more like I think more time elapses when like the people come back. She is essentially a hero because she's the only person to have left the silo and kind of come back to tell the tale. I can't remember what the memory angle was in the book series, but yeah, this did seem very showism of like this one dude just screaming like Juliet for mayor, and then everybody around just starts chanting, and I guess that's the official thing. So now she's officially a mayor.
Not one person was like, "Hey, what platform is she running on? What does she think about some of the? I'd be interested in what her thoughts are on some of the issues. You know, does she like
thoughts on
apples?
light bulbs?
Yeah. What's her thoughts on light bulbs? This rabble rousing thing, it does work, Tom. I don't know. One of my go-tos, if you ever go into a crowded McDonald's where there's like a bunch of people waiting to order, and you're just like, "Hey, I heard they're giving away free spicy McChickens. A lot of rumors that they're giving away hot and spicy's today.
Spicy McChickens. Spicy McChickens.
Free spicy McChickens." You got to shout, and then the staff is obligated to give you free hot and spicy McChickens. So today's episode is brought to you by Burger King, who doesn't sell hot and spicy McChickens. But
funny little story. I tried to order a hot and spicy at McDonald's in like Pennsylvania once, and they looked at me like I was crazy. It's actually a regional thing. They don't sell them everywhere.
Yeah, some places it's just like a McChicken. I was recently somewhere where they were just like, "Oh, you'd like a no longer $1 McChicken? Sure." And I'm like, "Could you guys just maybe put a little bit of pepper flakes on it so that it looks like a hot and spicy?" And then they rejected me. So I went to the other corner where the other McDonald's was. Let's move on because there's no McDonald's in the silo, but there should be.
There's pizza.
I'm loving it. Oh, there is pizza. Leftover pizza. That was so weird, right? I'm still thinking about it. All right, so we then have Bernard and Walker hanging out, and she's like his nursemaid helping him recover or giving him hot soup. They have a conversation about burning, which was great. And I'd watch this comedy, Tom, all day long.
Yeah, they're fantastic together. It was fun to see them on screen. I kept thinking, too, throughout this entire episode, like, the voice work that Tim Robbins has to do here essentially sounds like Nick Nolte. Like, it's rough. It doesn't seem like it'd be fun to act in that voice.
Yeah, Nick Nolte from, like, The Warrior, where he's fallen off the wagon and he keeps listening to the Moby Dick audiobook. Yeah, I've got you. I mean... Listen, I think Tim Robbins loves this role. I think he is having the time of his life. And he probably hated being in the makeup chair where they had to put all that fake scar and burns on him. But he's
that's
doing
real.
A great job.
He actually got burnt in real life.
Oh, I forgot he's method. I forgot.
He's that committed.
That's incredible. Walker is asking Bernard, she's like, so there's a bunch of other silos. If they have radios, why don't we hear from them? So obviously her like mechanical fix-it brain is now working on, how do we find the right channels in order to talk to the right silos? And for some reason, Bernard at one point is like, hey, silo number 1 monitors all of the radio frequencies. So is like silo 1 the head silo, or are they the one that makes the decisions? Have we talked about this before, Tom, or is that something you can reveal to us now?
We haven't, but I think I can reveal it because Bernard does kind of say as much. So, like, I think the general concept is there's 50 silos, but one kind of controls them. So I think it's essentially 51 silos. And like where the algorithm or potentially is kind of where it's coming from, or the directions that Bernard said he was getting is being given from a central location.
Okay, got it. Very good. I vote for you based on the way you politically answered that question. Man, you were like in a minefield, scatting back and forth without stepping on them. Is skip scatting a phrase, Tom?
It is now.
Okay.
What is difficult about, like, again, I've read the books. It's been a minute since I've read the books. I know some of like the bigger twists that are going on, but I do feel like the show is taking some twists and turns. But I don't know if they're doing it like as MacGuffins or if they're doing it just to kind of be a little bit different. Like, so I'm very cautious and careful with what I say in terms of any book reveals. But the fact that Bernard does bring up this kind of silo 1 concept and they're the one monitoring him, I think it's fair game.
Do you think they are purposefully messing with book readers by like throwing some things out there? Kind of like,
I think so.
I don't know. Everyone saw how Game of Thrones went, and you can either be faithful to the book community or mess with them a little bit. And it feels like these guys, based on your comments, might be having a little bit more fun with this rather than strictly following the books, right?
Well, I mean, in Game of Thrones' defense, they showrunners ran out of material because George R. R. Martin refuses to finish his most epic thing that he's ever created. He's just going to do spin-offs for, I guess, the rest of his life.
Okay.
But yes.
Well, okay. Yeah, I didn't realize this was going to become Tom and Julian's roast George R. R. Martin pod, which is a different podcast, Tom. You will recall Roast and George with Julian and Tom.
Roast and Germ.
What? Oh, there we go.
Germ,
I got
George
it.
R. R. Martin.
Yeah, no, I got there. It took me a bit. I'm slow. You know this about me. One of the things I told you when we first met. I'm slow. Please go slow. All right, here we go. Bernard, Sims shows up once again, sidles into a room. He's like, hey, I'm Sims, Robert Sims, don't know if you know me. And Bernard informs them that if Juliet's awake and things are happening, they're going to start putting her on the forget-me drugs, and we need to wean her off them or help with all this. Also, if we need her to remember things, we need to start gathering artifacts from the from the past, forgive me, which also leads to Sims and Bernard kind of going back and forth, where it seems like Sims for the first time is learning about the Order, which is the super secret pact that I guess he gets, right? That he was reading in that room.
Yeah, it's the packed version for the head of IT, the stuff that they have to follow, or if this scenario happens, do this kind of a thing. I do find it interesting, though, that they are actively talking about all of this stuff down here in the Down Deep. I don't know if this AI or voice is omnipresent and can see or notice Camille not saying anything. We know the AI voice is just 50, 100 feet below them, by that tunnel door. So it's kind of interesting that they're just openly talking about all this stuff and it doesn't seem to have any repercussions.
Oh, I think this is the right way to talk about this, because I feel like throughout this episode, we never check a room to make sure it's safe. We never look to make sure there's no mirror. It feels like we are constantly talking about all the things we're not supposed to talk about, like the safeguard and that. I mean, even on the stairs later, Juliet and Sims are walking, and they're pretty open about what they're talking about. So I agree with you. I'm fine with it. I don't need the added element of every time they walk into a room, they to the audience are like, this room's
Sign
safe,
language.
we can talk freely, Or, write on a whiteboard. And Supply's listen, we're critically out of dry erase markers, so start sucking on the ends in order to reconstitute them into marker paste, All right. The best scene in this whole episode, Tom. I'm gonna reveal my cards. I'm gonna lay my trump down right here. It's Regina and Sims holding that cat. I don't know that an animal has ever been in more peril than this cat is while he's being stroked by one Robert Sims. This was incredible.
Oh, this is great. I mean, call out to this cat actor. It reminded me of that goat in Pluribus that just hit its mark like a champ.
Sure.
This cat was just, had to be sedated. It was just super chill in Sims' arm. Or maybe Common is a cat whisperer. He needed to pet the cat more. It would have been a little more menacing. But as somebody who is also actively reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, I was thinking that this might be Princess Donut.
Okay.
Which, have you read those? Have you read those books?
Nope. I don't understand that reference at all. All of those words mean nothing to me.
Some people will. It's a great book. I've been loving it so far.
Okay.
But anyways, this was a great scene, and I love, again, so many more animals this season, right?
Right. All of a sudden, everyone's got a pet, and he looks like Monty Burns as he strokes that cat and stares at Regina. He is asking Regina, hey, here are some pills. I need you to get them to the nurse to replace them for Juliet. And I felt like this was more to get us back to Regina and remind us who she is so that she can be part of the, fabulous team at the end of this episode where they all gather. So we now know that she is helping out. And it also brings us back to that scene where she's trading badges for relics that was from episode 1, I think, of this season.
Yep.
Just a reminder that she's on the good guy's side and that Sims has this reach where he has threatened and bribed people previously. Although I do like in this one, she's like, are you threatening me? And he's like, no, I'm just asking for a favor. Although he's definitely threatening that cat, right?
Yo, 100%. I feel like both Sims and Bernard, I'm okay with this, but I feel like the show like really has this yada yada over all their brutality and everything
Sure.
they did in the first 2 seasons,
Sure.
where they are just now completely turning and now they're good guys, even though like what we saw in both of these characters was not necessarily a whole lot of remorse for the actions that they took.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'm fine with it. I like them both.
Yeah.
Listen, a little bit of time and distance between a murder or two, an assault or two. It's okay. You know, people
true.
people have short memories, Tom.
People change.
Well, I hope they don't change too much because there's parts of them that I really like. And honestly, Juliet might need 2, murderers on her team if we're going to turn this whole thing around. But
True.
we continue with the conversation with Sims, Walker, and Bernard about radio channels, and I liked this moment. It seemed a little bit forced and a little bit manipulative, if I'm being honest. But Bernard is like, Robert Sims, you were always the son that I never had. You were indispensable. I wanted to name you Bernard Jr. and give you the old wooden duck that I pulled around as a child. It was my favorite toy. Have I ever told you about my wooden wheeled duck that brought me so much joy as a child?
Don't forget about my shoes.
Don't forget about my cleats, because I once played a sport that I was very good at. Anyways, he's like, listen, Sims, you're indispensable. And by the way, being the head of IT sucks. And so I almost felt like he was like, hey, have a little bit of sympathy for Camille because she now knows some things that she can't share with anyone. But I thought this was an interesting conversation. Sims seems to be affected by it. But once again, to your point, this does seem to be us like trying to forget about what these two did and make them more sympathetic.
Yeah, I agree. They did a lot in this scene to do that, like where he's saying like it's a brutal, thankless, impossible job. And I do like the comment he says at the end. It's like, I was burned on the outside, but essentially Camille is burning on the inside. I thought that was kind of clever, good writing, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay just turning these characters really quickly.
Right.
Everybody's joining Team Juliet.
Right. And then they're pointing out in this episode, like, who knows about the safeguard and why is that important? So Camille knows, and then as we get to it later, a bunch of other people will just freely be talking about it, which interesting. And the safeguard talk re-emphasized here because we get a quick scene where Sims Bernard are like asking Juliet like to remember, and if she remembers the safeguard,
how to stop it ultimately.
Right.
Yeah.
At a certain point, they also remind her that dream she had of her and Bernard in the fire room was not a dream, but a memory. Well, the quickest of cut here, just to remind us that Lucas and Kennedy are running around together. I really thought we were going to get some cool, movement through the silo because they talked about how scary it was last time, but this gets yada yada. I did not care for this. I wanted to watch these two go down a water slide or something. What did we miss here? We missed something.
It was trash shoot travel. I'm assuming they probably did film some scenes and they just weren't pivotal enough for the show. This was already a longer episode, so maybe it got cut for time.
All right, that's fair. In the last one, they're like, he's not going to like how he travels. And Kennedy's like, oh, yeah, he's going to be fine. I'm not going to tell you about it. It's going to be fun. And then they just don't show us. I did not care for that.
It's just trash.
Yeah, but it's fun to watch people fall, Remember
that's true.
In that one scene earlier in the show where someone fell 100 levels and they lived because they landed on trash? That's the type of stuff that I want to see,
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about people that can't keep secrets. Walker has excused herself to, go cool down the soup, and then she's in talking with Knox and Shirley, and she's like, listen, I've got to scare you guys with some secrets. There's a ton of other silos, and also they can kill us, and I need you to help me move Bernard, who happens to be alive. What? So many secrets shared with Knox and Shirley. And once again, this feels like it's just a gathering of the band, right?
Yeah, we're just kind of making, as opposed to tiptoeing around what certain characters know and don't know, we're just giving everybody everything. Because again, the algorithm was very specific to Lucas when it says if you tell a person this whole silo is going to go down, and now we have conservatively 48 people that know all of the shenanigans.
Did you emphasize a person? Because if you tell multiple people, that's peoples, and if we're going by semantics, then maybe the algorithm won't murder everyone if you get clever with it. Is that why you emphasized a person?
Sure. Yeah, the algorithm's dumb. That's what I'm saying.
It's going to be very exact. Very exact.
I just really thought when they were told they got to move Bernard's body that they were going to have like a Weekend at Bernie's type situation, like put Bernard in some sunglasses, pretend like he's still alive again. That would have been great.
Tom, I got to be honest. I think Weekend at Bernie's is a reference that's almost too old for us. So
no way. People have seen that.
I don't know, man. I don't know that if it's still in the lexicon. But go kids, and we are a podcast for kids, Tom. So you got to think they range a little bit younger. But go watch the comedy classic of Weekend at Bernie's, and you'll get the comedy that Tom is referencing. All right.
That could have been one of my childhood memories, the VHS copy of Weekend at Bernie's.
Sure.
That's
the
my
well-worn
relic.
VHS where you had to rewind it by hand. We have Billings and Carla. This was my second favorite scene of the show, where she wakes him up. He's like, I needed to talk to you immediately. Instead, I took a nap in your office closet. And rather than I don't know if you've ever had to inform someone that their family members died. It's not the
Not
best.
a family member.
Okay, forgive me. Someone they knew who was her shadow. That's true. I guess maybe he should have been this callous. But he's like, listen, I don't want to argue. Also, Orla's dead. And then the way Carla goes,
backtrack, right? He says she's dead. He's like, okay, I'm sorry. I realized that was probably a bad way to say that.
Yeah. He's like, you just woke me up from a very deep sleep. This is typically not how I wake up or inform people that their shadows have died. But the way she was like, it's my fault. I was like, that's an admission of guilt. Send her out to clean. She killed her. But obviously, there's more to it than that.
Yes. I was like, I thought the same thing. Like, this is why she's been hiding. We haven't seen Carla's character because she was the murderer.
She was the murderer the whole time.
I do want to call out here. We had friend of the pod reach out to us on social, Blue Wave Writer, comment about like Billings' lack of syndrome this season, right? Like, was he magically cured in previous seasons that we didn't talk about? Because like, there's no like lingering effects. So you don't have a scene where it's like his hand shaking a little bit or he's taking some sort of magic drug. Like, it's just gone, right?
Yeah, he sent some money to a TV preacher and it fixed him right up. No, I think it was something maybe or did you tell me it wasn't from the books? Is it something that they just added to the show?
No, I think syndrome was I believe an addition, in like the earlier seasons of like some sort of like disease or something like that people can kind of catch in the silo. Again, I could be wrong, but people don't yell at me. Or again, we have another friend that's been reaching out to us recently with some great bookism, so maybe they'll reach back out.
Well, thank you, Blue Wave Rider. And I guess the only way it will come back is if in a specific moment Billings needs to do something physical and then he like clutches his hand and then his hand tries to like strangle him like the hand from Evil Dead, then maybe that'll make sense. The gang's together, Tom. Well,
yes,
Billings and Carla go and do their, and I almost want to just knock out all their stuff right now, but we'll hit it in a little while. But more importantly, the gang is together. Sims, Lucas, Kennedy, Juliet, Walker, Regina. They all know about the procedure, the safeguard. Forgive me, that's what it's called. They all know about the safeguard now. And they are in the process of gathering relics and giving them to Juliet so that she will remember. And I don't know how many times in this episode someone goes, the safeguard? You're talking about the safeguard? Oh, how they can kill all of us? You mean they can kill all of us? And you're like, all right, show. I think I got what the safeguard does.
Did we even confirm last season that they had a camera in Walker's office? Or maybe they did, like they knew that there was a camera in there, so they were like saying things to like put off.
No, they
Bernard.
definitely had a camera in Walker's office because she writes a note to someone at some point and they play back the tape. So yes, there is definitely
they've turned it
a
off, I'm
camera
sure.
now. Yeah, sure. And the safeguard, once something's turned off, the algorithm can't turn it back on. That's how electricity works. So
I just do like in all these sequences, they're like, okay, relic time. We're going to figure this out. Like, we'll give her childhood toys. Nope, childhood toys aren't good enough. We'll give her dead dad's watch. Nope, not good enough. And then we eventually get to the Pez. Like, I like the levels of messing around with us the show does. It has to find just the right thing to give her.
yeah, I was a little bit unsettled where they gave her dad's watch and then the memory was of her and George in a very intimate situation. And I was like, I don't know that that's, what the parent watch should remind you of. But I guess it was initially George's watch, so that makes sense. We do have this very nice moment with Hank, who this actor was like, I'm in 5 minutes of this whole season and I'm going to take all of it here. And he like stumbles through the message that Juliet, Daddy Doctor, he's like, your dad, Daddy Doctor, wanted you to know this. Here's the watch. He loved you very much. He said you were perfect, which, I don't know. That's a tough thing to tell someone. That's a lot to live up to. And also, don't stop fighting. And she is emotionally charged by all of this.
Yes, don't stop fighting or believing. She's got to hold on to that feeling.
Exactly. And then very soon after, she's like, hey, do you guys have any other gifts to give me? Because these aren't doing it, and I would like to remember. But ultimately, these don't lead to her having the epiphany that she will have later on in the episode. Not good enough, they say.
Nope, not the watch. Yeah, I would have thought the watch would have been more powerful than the Pez dispenser, but I guess not.
She's like, this is a man's watch. I don't want to wear this. This doesn't even go with what I'm wearing. Like, give me a different watch. Do you have a more expensive watch? That's what I would have been
with
asking
Mickey Mouse
for.
on it, please.
Do you have anyone with diamonds? Like that diamond cream my Aunt Lindsay's always telling me about? There's like a million bleeping diamonds.
Sparkle sets?
All right. Billings and Carla hanging out in critical supply. I like how everything's labeled in the silo. It's like CS, critical supply. Okay. Also, this place is huge. How do you hide this place in a silo that is just a tube that was dropped from space into the ground? What's going on?
I don't think they're
here?
hiding it per se. It's just like, I like that we're kind of getting other parts of the silo that we don't know exist, like the mines and that kind of concept of the mines. We kind of find out like that's just essentially in the middle of the silo. We figure out that there is this big kind of like maybe carved out portion in the silo that has all this extra bit of critical supply. Because we only got in the previous seasons, like mechanical is the most important. We're the ones keeping everybody alive. But so is supply that is supplying this silo with the things it needs to survive. So I like how we're getting a little bit deeper. Like light bulbs.
Like light bulbs. Or, I don't know, medicine maybe? That would have been nice too. But light bulbs
you could make medicine. Yeah.
I think they're missing a lot of comedy in the show by not just like once an episode having a miner pop his head through a wall like he went in the wrong direction. Is like, oh, went the wrong way. And then like going back in with his pickaxe and headlamp.
Maybe that's who's been stealing all these critical supplies.
Exactly.
There's a hole in the back.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll take some of these. And then he tunnels his way out. All right, so critical supply is full of the things that were stuck in the silo when it was initially built, and they are things that they can no longer make. And so we find out that supply over the last couple of years has been dwindling drastically due to larceny. So she's like, we had 70 years of supplies, then we had 50 years of supply. Now we're down to 2 years of supply of light bulbs, which we need for our crops. And Orla was killed because Carla put her on the job of trying to find out who is stealing from supply, which she wasn't a detective. So I think this might be adjacently, Carla did cause Orla's murder, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, a little bit of manslaughter, I think you could pin on her.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Is these people that are stealing stuff from critical supply, are they stealing more things or just light bulbs? Like, are we gonna find a room somewhere on this thing that's essentially like a little mini Las Vegas where like one of the floors is just riddled with light bulbs?
Yeah, there's a casino,
neon signs.
Yeah. Step right up, try your chance at this game. Or someone just with like super baggy pants walks by and it just sounds like glass crinkling as they walk, and they're like, maybe it's that guy, I don't know. I don't know why we're stealing all of the light bulbs. I don't know what we need them for. I don't know. I don't know. Are we just stealing them because people need lights for their rooms? Are these being sold on a black market? Is this a Christmas thing, that someone wants to... I don't know. This was very strange, but ultimately this is explaining us. And so they talk about Glenda, the other shadow, and she says she was like prickly but still good at her job, but for some reason Orla was more trustworthy. So I don't know if this storyline, I gotta be honest, I don't really care about solving this murder, but I feel like this is being brought up to give us another bit of, if we fix the safeguard, we still have to figure out how to survive with no lights for the crops, right?
Yeah, I think it's just adding that extra layer of doom for the silo.
Right.
That even if they do solve this one big looming problem, there's still other things that they've got to figure out.
Right. Another ticking clock. Thanks a lot, Silo. All right. Then we go and we have our good friends Bernard, Knox, and Shirley all talking. And I enjoyed this conversation where Shirley reminds us these guys have a little bit of a history, and he was, we'll just say, unkind to them. And they're the ones that got to lift him up through the silo. And he's like, listen, I understand if you let me drop. But ultimately, this leads to, as we've seen, Shirley being unkind and Knox being, I guess, a little bit kind by helping the old burnt man with his sweater.
Yeah, Knox is a real hero. He's great. I love him.
Yeah.
More Knox, please.
Just more, he's all arms and kindness. And honestly, I think the world would be better if we were all arms and kindness,
Now, that being said, Shirley is not wrong in anything she's saying here.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. Once again, the show is kind of tricking us with, why isn't Shirley being nice to Bernard? But she absolutely is right in this moment, Tom. Good job. They tricked me for a moment there. You brought us back to the path of righteousness. Thank you. All right, so we then have Sims and Juliet, and they're walking up the stairs.
Down the stairs.
No, they're going up. They're going up the
stairs.
Oh,
no, touche. They're going up.
I know that because when Sims went, I'm tired, and he goes down to his knees. I was like, brother, me too. I couldn't imagine walking up those stairs. I think
silo knees. Yeah.
Sims means it more emotionally and just like he's drained. But I was like, I'm not walking up any more stairs. I am also tired. Calm, my man. Like, I don't know. This all leads to them having that conversation out in the open where... Did you feel like this was a little bit cheesy, that it all came back to the duck pez, that like all roads lead to the Oregon duck pez, Tom?
I mean, it has been the most prominent relic that we've kind of seen, but I guess it has all these ties to George. We kind of talked about like the romantic style relationship they were building with Juliet and Lucas, but I'm kind of glad they maybe are moving away from it a little bit more because it puts more weight back into her relationship she had with George previous.
Right. But ultimately, this duck pez does the trick, and we get a cool flashback, and then we get this one shot of both Juliet and Sims looking at each other, and I'm like, okay, good acting, you two. And she remembers that there is a poison pipe under the ground and that she needs to cap it. And also she remembered Solo for a little bit. So we get to see a little bit of the Zahn man.
Steve Zahn. Yes, that was good. He had to get his little speech from previous season.
Right. And then, man, has there ever been a more apt metaphor for marriage than when Juliet runs down the stairs because she's like, I got to talk to the others. Sims, having given up this very important duck pez so that she'll remember, walks to the gap in the stairs, and Camille's staring down at him, and he's staring up at her, and there is a gap neither of them can cross, and there's also a gap in their hearts that neither will be able to cross, and in their motivation. Just, other than Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the movie, I don't know that there's a better representation of marriage than these two staring at each other.
This was great. Just absolute marital bliss here. And I'm very excited for this next family meeting we're going to hopefully get.
They can't do a family meeting. There's a gap in the stairs, my man. Like, these two are never going to physically be present with each other again. But To your point, and I do appreciate them doing this, there was a lot of back and forth within the silo, but they then didn't cut in the before times. And we end the episode with the before times. And I think that's the right structure for this show and certainly for my brain. But we get Helen and Daniel, who are off on their van quest. And his buddy Sam Government, as we like to call him, gave him the
Sam Government Pentagon, full name.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. That the gentleman that owns the clinic that Charlotte is in is also an AI technology leader. His name is Per Stinson. He was on the Nimitz the night of their operation. And so that's who they're going to see. And I do love when Helen goes, so do you think this is all about AI? I was like, please don't, show. Please don't be all about AI. Like, we watched that Mission Impossible movie. It sucked. Like, don't make AI the bad guy, please, show. And wouldn't you know it, that old van gets taken over and they're no longer driving.
Yeah, my wife had the exact same thought of like, they're seemingly just kind of pigeonholing AI in here. And as we've seen in other media, like, yes, AI is like omnipresent, unfortunately, now in like all of our lives, for better or worse. But to make it like your villain in a show, it's not great. It's not entertaining television. So I'm interested to see where they take this. Like I said, I kind of know where the books go, so I'm going to be cautious with my words, but I would just kind of hold any judgment here until we get a little bit more.
I will not hold judgment. AI is dumb. AI as a villain is dumb. I will be on record. So,
okay.
Listen, I want some guys that, don't look like me with machine guns as the bad guys. Maybe if they had like Norwegian accents or whatever the guys had in Die Hard, like that's who I want as my enemy, not some dumb computer,
Fair.
Let's go to Tom. Any final thoughts on this episode before we go into everyone's favorite audience corner?
I mean, again, it was just great to have good old Tim Robbins back, even if his voice was rough. He's a great character, and I enjoy him and his dynamics with everybody. Juliet finally getting her memory back seemingly in full now is fantastic. I would have hoped they maybe did that an episode or two earlier, but I think it's a good midway point in episode 5 here and really sets us up for a dramatic finish.
Sure. Well, not even finished. Don't we have 10? So we're midway for this season, correct?
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm just saying like the latter half of this season, I think, is going to really wrap it up.
I got you.
Ramp it up.
I
in terms of the
ladder.
chaos,
That's a word the silo could maybe use. Yeah.
Elevator. Really elevate. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right, let's go into Audience Corner. And for those of you that have reached out, we do appreciate you. And if you would like to reach out, if there's something we missed, you can get us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. A couple of messages. Jen L. reached out, and she just wanted to point out a couple of really good thoughts, but the main ones I wanted to touch on was that they should make a Silo video game. I would be interested in that. It's a lot of running up and down stairs, but the video game player would do it. I wouldn't have to. And then the other is she points out that Ashley Zuckerman, who plays Daniel, was also in the TV show Manhattan, which is about the building of the atomic bomb. Tom, did you watch that show?
I feel like I've heard of it, but I don't think I watched it.
Okay, but very similar like government role in that one. So Jen, it was good to hear from you. We also got a message from Andy, and Andy mentioned that we should point out, this is an episode or two back, but Daniel gives up his congressional credentials to the hacker guy so quickly. And he did want to point out this is right after an alleged dirty bomb went off in Washington, D.C., so maybe security protocols are pretty high at this moment. So Bad job by you, Daniel. You've got some other ones, Tom. Go ahead.
So I didn't reach out via email, but we've had a friend of the pod, Barb, reach out on Blue Sky and provide some great little tidbits from the book and things that I'm kind of forgetting or not adding. So thank you for that. Be cautious with what I kind of share because some of the things she kind of says might spoil some other stuff. But thank you, Barb, for reaching out. Yeah, it's been great. And then in terms of 5-star reviews, we were very kind. If you are enjoying our shenanigans, and you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Throw us a 5-star review, leave us a comment. We'll read it on pod. So we had one from Marty in Mechanical. So great. We're getting somebody directly from the silo.
They've got email in the silo. This is insane.
They figured it out. Yep, exactly. With the subject, Attention Hollywood, it says, Julian needs to have his own show, and Tom needs to be his Andy Richter or Ed McMahon sidekick. 5 stars. Love it. I'm in.
I don't care for that. I don't care for that at all. If anyone's sidekicks, it's that Tom and I are both each other's sidekicks. Equal partnership, please. So, yeah, if you, once again, want to reach out to us, you can hit us at teambingepodcast@gmail.com. If you would be so kind to take the time to rate and review on Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star, and write something, we will be sure to read it on pod. We can't thank you enough for doing that. And then if you do listen on Spotify or one of those other programs, just hit the follow or subscribe and then 5 stars on there. It means the world to us. Also, Tom, I want to point out that I'm currently wearing my Team Binge podcast hat that I got from TeePublic. I wore it in the airport not that long ago, and I got to say, nobody noticed. So just a little something there.
Our numbers did not skyrocket that day when you wore it, unfortunately.
Tom, what did I forget?
But yeah, follow us on the socials at Team Binge or at Team Binge Podcast and all the major ones. Let us know what you think. If you got some good bookisms that aren't too spoilery, definitely let us know. Again, thank you, Barb. But yeah, it's been fun. I think a lot of people are enjoying the show. I think some people are a little bit hesitant because of the slow burn, but that is the show. Like, this show is not like
and it picks up. I think it's been rewarding these last 2 episodes. So I'm for it. I think they're moving in the right direction, and they're not just dragging it out to drag it out.
Yeah, agreed. I think we're in for a very exciting back half of the season. I can't wait.
I agree. Well, for Team Binge, I have been Julian.
And I have been Tom. Till next week, everybody.